We did it. Fuck it. We'll do it live.
Fucking welcome back to the 𝐤𝐴𝐰𝐰 podcast. Here it's the beautiful balances of life. Paris. I was working till 6 in the morning. I came back home. I'm like, I have a podcast early-ish for my standards. I was like, I'm gonna sleep, and I was like, no, maybe I'm not gonna sleep. Then I started working a bit. I'm like, oh, maybe I'm gonna sleep, and now I haven't slept. Having my morning. I don't know. It's fucking 2 p.m.
Yeah.
But it's this in between. It's like, I don't know which level of Dante's Inferno it is, where when you're on a bender, the morning is easy and the night is easy, and then in the middle.
Oh, that's hard. That's hard.
It's
the
is
4
hard.
p.m. That's hell. That's
Yeah.
that's the lowest when no amount of alcohol will get you in a good mood and you're just pushing. You're like, fuck it, I'll have another one.
Yeah, it's that. I think if you cross like 5 p.m., then I kind of get like, okay, it's getting to nighttime again. I'll do my shit and then go to bed early.
Okay, yeah.
Anyway, so baby Paris is on a bender, and then fucking Louis here. Fucking looks like we started an investment podcast now.
This is
Fucking, you should put all your money on fucking something.
crypto's back, guys, and I told everybody.
Crypto's back, and you can tell from his haircut.
I can finally afford one again.
Ludwig, so fucking good to have you here. Slept 12 hours.
Yeah, man.
You look like your skincare routine is fucking on point. It's beautiful. It's really nice to see.
Cheers, man. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm only a little bit upset.
I can see it. There's a lot of anger in your voice,
Dude.
but I thrive on it.
Yeah, by the way, last like Sunday or whatever, I also was in the exact same situation, and I was working at night again on Sunday, and I had a spot at the multi-layer Laden at like 𝐼𝐚𝐜𝐞𝐛𝐨𝐨𝐤.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's like 3 p.m. I'm like, the spot is at 6. I'm like, there's no way. I'm like, maybe I took like a 45-minute nap just to be like, maybe, you know. So I go there, and literally in the same way that you came in and you were like, I slept for 12 hours. I go in there and I'd forgotten like it was multi-layer Laden. Like, so I go in, there's the stage, and literally like the bar, the place is basically made out of beautiful wooden hanging beds and little couches and little chairs and little, and I'm
Okay.
like, I get on stage and I'm like, this feels like a hallucination where you make me earn my rest, where I have to perform for you while you're all in hanging beds with linen sheets like fucking princesses, and I haven't slept in 3 days, and you're just taunting me with your fucking beds that hang from the ceiling.
Entertain me, otherwise you're not allowed to sleep.
Make me laugh, and perhaps I shall give you a pillow. It's like fucking.
Rest is earned around here. This sounds like my life. You can only sleep if you have performed today. Did you? Did you?
You feel like a set goals of production sort of type, you know?
Yeah.
You have a spreadsheet of like, we hit those goals by fucking
I do have a spreadsheet.
May 17th, or else my father doesn't love me and I don't deserve.
Well, that's an unconditional hate that I get. That's a driving force, actually, of this enterprise.
Yeah?
It's just thriving on that. No, I think me and my dad are on better terms now. We just stopped talking. That's good. So,
Oh.
no, actually, we're getting there, slow and steady.
Was it like a caring mother and a distant father?
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of. Yeah.
Fun.
This is good. Minute
3
minute.
minutes.
I was about 3 minutes. How do you feel about your dad?
3 minutes, 3 minutes in, already uncomfortable.
No, it's great, man. This is. Oh man.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta. I mean, if you also had 2 loving parents, I'll
Yeah.
be like, I would just make you quit comedy. Just out of spite.
Yeah. How would you How are you funny?
Yeah.
Like, listen. What are you coping for?
Yeah.
There has to be something.
Come on, you gotta be overcompensating for something at this point. You can't just.
If you're just in it for vibes, that's
Yeah.
just sometimes you have these people in the audience and you're like, I don't just from talking to you for 30 seconds, I know that in your life nothing bad ever happened. Like your worst experience was you didn't get the meal you wanted for that night, and that was bad.
Those are my favorite audience members because it feels like my energy is the exact opposite of that.
Yeah.
We play off each other beautifully.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
No, okay, I'm glad, Louis. Yeah, because you can't look like the heir to Nestle and
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 just-
be funny. Like, yeah, we gotta have some daddy issues, something.
Something's gotta be off.
Um,
Oh man.
yeah, baby boy. So you grew up in Switzerland?
No, Germany. The whole Swiss thing,
Oh,
like, yeah.
The whole Swiss thing is
I mean, I'm half Swiss and half
it's all
German.
a gimmick, like the Holocaust. Like it
It's
just, yeah,
just
yeah,
made up, man.
Yeah, just for marketing
Yeah,
purposes.
man, dude, just for vibes, really. I did the.
Is that like is that your new kind of like just for vibes?
No,
like,
no,
bringing
no.
it back.
Honestly, this is the second time I said it in like 5 years, and it's
I
just.
love it that you came into my room and you're like, something about this experience. I'm going to use the word vibes again.
You know what? I think that's what's going on here. It's a bunch of vibes.
This is your reading of trying to speak my language. This is your attempt at being like, oh, I'm at Paris's place. You know, the vibes. It's like,
Hey, what are the vibes here, kids? Are we?
it's like my aunt speaking to me. How was the play? Did you like the vibes?
Yeah. Are we having what's up, gang? Are we ganging?
Flexing on them hoes.
Yeah. Oh, it's like the nerdy uncle trying to be cool and relatable.
Fucking love it.
Oh,
I love it. No, but I think the thing I love is that Mediterranean uncles never tried that shit.
Oh, that's the best.
I think that's like an exclusively more like whitey thing, whereas like Mediterranean uncles fucking, oh my god, the chest hair looks like a map to a treasure. Like everything, they live up to just, you know, the wife beater, hairy chest, just, they quit. A lot of Mediterranean men, I feel like, quit at like 28 and just endorse that they're going to be an old man from 28 till 85.
Yeah.
Like, just fucking full on.
Oh, yeah.
It's very endearing, actually. It's way nicer than like...
Than most other people you know around here, man. My Instagram feed, I stopped resisting it. My Instagram feed is the most strange place you've ever encountered. The new trend is just shirtless Mediterranean men eating like tomatoes. Just also no context. They're not saying anything. They're just eating, and I'm here for it. I'm like,
Oh my God.
that looks actually amazing.
Okay, Louis, we have to cross algorithms. So me and my my best gay, little Felipe, he was on the podcast 2 episodes ago. We've basically created this monster out of both of our algorithms because I had the mentally unstable like meth heads taking videos out of their window and seeing a bird and then freaking out. I had Sigma male alpha squared male content because I was just, you know what? It's weird that the algorithms are not sure if I'm into it or making fun of it.
That's the thing. They don't know sarcasm.
So, and then I had a lot of like weird religious things. And then Felipe has crazy gay shit.
Yeah.
Like crazy gay shit.
When does it cross over to crazy gay?
Oh, I mean like a guy in a room surrounded by like 45 dildos and doing like sommelier stuff with like, or like, I don't know, just also there's the gay method, and that's because think about this, like take a straight man and a gay man, and then compare their like inhibitions, right? Like gay men have always been like, if a straight man can be like a bit kooky and a bit crazy and a bit open, a gay man will like quadruple that on a Monday morning. So take a straight method off the charts, now take it to gay culture that's already fucking out of here. Yeah. The results are beautiful.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Funny enough, I think I've seen the gay method as well.
Yeah,
I think he
but also he grew up in Italy and like, went to Catholic school. So he has a lot of these like super like Catholic and super like religious, but my religious was like weird, just like I don't know, Jesus rap, like hip hop for God, and and his was like actual footage from like the seminary, and then we combine those algorithms, and the result is insanity. Oh, also I have like 20% Indian reels. Have you?
Yeah.
Oh,
but they somehow left again. They switched.
I still get them. Like I love you. Me love who? Oh, we go to supermarket. And it's,
Oh yeah,
and it's just like, oh my god, that's exactly how my brain feels most of the day.
and yeah, I had those like a year ago, but now I think I've graduated, and what I have now, and this is just I've accepted this who I am, is there. My new thing is Chinese farm workers fixing farming equipment in Chinese with Chinese subtitles. I have no idea what's going on. I'm just happy to be here. I'm like, okay, what are we doing, lads? Okay, are we fixing or what are we doing?
Louis, all we have to do is send reels to each other for 2 weeks, and our algorithms will be blessed. I can't fucking wait. I mean, Mediterranean man eating a tomato. If me and Felipe got that in our algorithm, I mean, Felipe, first of all, probably would die from horniness. Just fucking Mediterranean men. Just I've some
Honestly, it looked very. Even for me, I was like, that's pretty hot. That was pretty. And it was like an old, like really like an old Italian, like classy dude. And then apparently his son with like a 6-pack, and I was like, I don't know what the algorithm is trying to tell me, but this is all right.
That's not our vibe. Our vibe is more like when I say Mediterranean man eating a tomato, it's like a fat, plumpy guy.
Yeah, that was the old man.
Okay, yeah. Because I have some Italian men that talk to goats in my reels.
Okay,
as well.
no, I would love to see those. Those sound way better.
Okay, we're gonna fucking
We'll send some real.
Yeah. We're gonna work on it, baby. We got this. Such a fun. Yeah, it's very, very funny to also just like be in this era where also it's funny to me anytime that people talk about like this like control and social media and this thing, and then I look at my feed, and it's like it's a troll on the craziest that humanity has to offer.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, how do people do it differently? Like, like I've only heard stories about people seeing things that are like, oh, this is nice. I enjoyed this video. Oh, this was actually helpful.
I have no idea.
And I have a fat Italian guy speaking to a goat for 3 minutes.
I also like there's this like the social media, like we have a huge problem of fake news and propaganda, and I'm like, yeah, I don't know where that is, but
I don't know what that is because my Chinese farmers can fix the fuck out of the tractor.
I don't know what's going on, but I'm definitely not getting indoctrinated. Like also like the whole influencer industry. I'm like who sees those? Because I have none. Like
I also don't understand like who's like, oh, this is a beautiful girl with 2 million followers in LA. I'm gonna follow her because she's an angel.
I'm like, I don't think that she's gonna fix farming equipment at any time.
Yeah, like I don't see her in the fields. I don't see her speaking 3 foreign languages. Like no, this is not interesting. Also, if you wanna get horny, we have a lot of other outlets.
We have like a real website. You don't need to edge yourself in the subway of like, oh my god.
You don't need to follow like 25 twinks from LA and then you're waiting at the 𝐈𝐵𝐰𝐰 to get a piece of paper and then you're like, oh, a plumpy ass. That's
and now you're just like, oh yeah, that's good. I needed to be a little bit horny today. Where it's like, what are you doing? Why are you making your life more difficult than it needs to be?
I don't get it. Yeah, it weirdly feels very nostalgic. It feels like magazine era.
Yes.
Where I think that's why. I think because if you can access a gangbang in 3 seconds, I think maybe the pursuit of a very beautiful woman that's giving you like, you know, like, you know, she's giving you, but you're not gonna see her. Like, it's just this kind of like, here's my life. I think that's what gets people horny because it's like I can see someone getting fucked by 25 dicks right now. Maybe Stephanie is up to something interesting.
But not her. Not my beautiful Stephanie. I can't see her.
Yeah, she did Pilates today. I wish I was in that class.
Oh no, it's so funny, and it's funny to see like other dudes, especially in the subway, when they watch this, and I'm like, my guy, I admire you for like absolutely no shame of just like these almost surreal videos of giant breasts when you're just like, I mean, first of all, I mean, good on you if that's your thing, but you're just watching and you're like, my guy, you're in public. You're in the subway. I don't know, like...
Such a weird...
I don't know. It's just a different atrocity. Like, if you open your eyes, there's someone begging with no legs, and he's like, you know what I need in this setting? some
Big-
tits.
yeah.
I need some.
Honestly, big tits would help a lot with this smell. It's
Oh yeah.
it's getting quite pungent.
Oh, it's hard. It's atrocious.
Yeah.
Oh my god. But this is the other thing. I think as comics, it's just the amount of gratitude I have for public transport is just I wouldn't be able to do what I do. Like I live there. When people
Here's us again falling into the trope of airplane jokes.
yeah, I'm
It's like whatever transport you use, that's the only root of all your jokes.
it is, but it's like
Yeah.
also because like when people are like, "Oh, you know, the subway is kind of dirty," and I'm like, "You have no right to judge. I live there. I literally live there."
It's-
And
Whoa, that's
yeah.
like
Listen, what are we talking about here? Like you're probably talking about a tram. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
It's like a public holiday.
also like yeah, I guess it's I'm just used to a different standard of city where like I guess there's like a lot of people come from nicer places, so Berlin to them is like a shithole. But like I came from Athens, this place is like luscious to me.
Really?
Yeah, every time I go to like Europe,
Yeah.
I get like anxiety. Like I was in Brussels.
Yeah, but that's too much.
It's too much. Like
Yeah,
I get
yeah.
legitimate anxiety because the streets are clean and everything looks a certain way. I'm like, is this real? Is this real life?
And I feel the same now too. I like
what psycho is like. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird.
it's almost like like a surreal place. Like it feels like Berlin is what's happening in every city behind the facades.
Yeah.
And now you go to another city and you're like, where's your Berlin? And they're like, no, this is how we live. And you're like, listen, where are your bodies? Listen, I don't believe any of this.
Yeah, I think in most places they just go like in the fucking like outskirts of
Yeah,
the city,
yeah,
and you
yeah.
go there and it's a fuck. Yeah, no, that's the one thing I love about Berlin. I've been shitting on it consistently for the past year because I'm a bit done and fed up. But the one thing I love about this place is that it's the capital of Germany,
Yeah, that's true.
and this is it.
That's true.
Those motherfuckers don't give like they've won so much over the last like few decades. Like after the like they've been so consistently
funny.
that they're like, we can afford to have a capital that's like a piece of shit
Yeah.
because we're so comfortable now that there's no need to even flex. Let Belgium flex. They're fucking idiots.
Yeah, it's amazing how we managed to build a third world country within a first world
Yeah.
country. But it's different because yesterday I was like, I was at Miles' show. It's a friend who runs a show here, and it was at like the food court, and around that area everything's nice, and it feels weird.
Yeah.
Like it's not good. Like it feels like a simulation. Like especially this mall,
Oh my god.
it's so trippy.
First of all, I've probably been to a mall like 3 times in my life.
Yeah,
like, a
but-
mall is probably like my if my life was a video game, like the malls were my final battle. Like the fucking like the last villain I fight him in the mall. Like that's
you face him there. No, man.
yeah. No,
At this place, it's just like every time I do the show, immediately afterwards I leave because I'm like, that's just
I can't take
it's
it.
too
Yeah.
trippy.
Yeah, imagine having a fucking camera crew with you. I was
Whoa.
also, I didn't know where the venue was, and then we got there, and then we all thought it was that little, there's that little stage in the middle
Yeah.
of the food court with the
stairs?
the stairs, and we thought it's gonna be there for legitimately 8 minutes. And I cannot describe to you the feeling I had being like, I have a documentary crew that's gonna shoot my set. There's 100 people eating tofu-filled dumplings, families, children. There's an NBA official store behind me.
It is so funny.
I was like, fuck, I'm doomed to fail in this. I was just kind of like, oh, fuck me.
But I love this. I
Yeah.
think this is what I truly, truly came to not only enjoy. Like it's almost like this laugh of despair.
Yeah.
When you're just like, what am I doing with my life? You have those gigs when you're like, you thought you thought you're moving up in any way, and then you booked in a showcase, and it's a food court and a mall, and you're like, please do 25 minutes of your best shit, but you get paid, and then afterwards you're like, okay, please invoice us, and I'm like, okay, how much? And they're like 10 euros.
10 euros.
And I'm like, fuck me.
Bless you.
And I don't want to sound ungrateful because I love to do the gigs and I'll continue to do them. It's just at some point you cancel dates for gigs, and then sometimes it's those, and you can't describe to any person in your life, especially ones that would like to see you, to be like, I prioritize the food court over you.
Yeah.
It's
like if only that girl followed me that night.
Wow.
Like probably one of the worst rejections of her life. Like, wait, you said no to me for this?
No, you don't understand. I get paid.
No, I get paid. It's not enough to buy food at the food court that I'm performing because it's a bit pricey. But I could get an appetizer. We could split an appetizer after my gig with my earnings that I will receive in 15 working days via bank transfer.
I can't. Please don't pay me in cash. I can't evade those 10 euros.
I can't. But I have to take the U-Bahn for 15 stops. I can be carrying fucking 5 2-euro coins.
Please invoice us. I was like, my guy, please. I get me.
My guy, just the time it makes me to make the invoice, you have to pay me double. Like,
I'm bleeding money. Please. Oh,
it's so fucking funny.
It's so funny. It's almost unbearable.
It is.
And then you have these people that are at some of these shows just tricked into being there.
That's the other thing. I think like the reason I also could never stick to a format in comedy and stick to being a little bit like nicer in all of this is because I think we all have a different level of like what your perception of an audience is and what your perception of a place is. And I think for a lot of people like that do stand up, or a lot of people that haven't been out there that much, like I think in a lot of their minds it's like, oh yeah, of course they came to see a comedy show and I'm part of it. Whereas like I've been around a bit and it's like 90% of the shows I'm like, oh babies. Like, I mean, it's not a coincidence that there's like 5 repeat customers in this like Berlin scene, and they're just fucking like fishing in a new pond every week to fill a show. It's because like those people are obviously tricked into it. Half of the shows they're like free show, free shots, free blowjob, and then they get there and they're like, we recommend a donation of 13 to 20 euros, and I'm like, do you know what you can get in the city for 15 euros?
Man, and I mean, I think that's what, like, again, like, this is not us shitting on the scene, yeah?
No.
We love to do all these shows, and I'm very happy. I'm just fascinated sometimes. Like, and I think that makes us...
Businesswoman was fucking scared.
Yeah. I was like, listen, guys, keep booking me, yeah? I love you.
Listen, guys, keep not booking me, and I'll keep my opinions nice and tight.
I'll change them if you want me to. I'll do any gig. I'll pay for gigs. I think that's what makes a lot of the material that we have work so well, is because it's not enough to be funny. You gotta convince the audience that realizes they don't even want to be there to be like, oh shit, that's actually, you know what, that was a good decision. Because often, sorry.
Yeah, no. But that's exactly the point. Is like I think it's about reading.
Mm-hmm.
Because you see also a lot of people go up when the audience obviously doesn't want to be there. Hey, timer. Because I think that's the thing I react to, is that like you see a lot of people go up there and it's an audience that we all very clearly know that they've been sort of tricked into being in the back room that they don't really want to be, listening to open mic comedians. So... Yeah. If you don't perceive that and if you don't read that, then like there's all these people that end up going like just doing their most regular material. Obviously, it doesn't work because you can't just do like, so yesterday, like to an audience that's like trying to like looking at the door,
trying to escape,
like being like, when is the break? Like, how are we gonna get out of this? They're talking like, do we have to pay? And it's like, and then the community over there like, let me start this 3-minute bit about my family. And then they're like, "Oh, you guys don't like that." It's like, no, they don't like anything. Right
They
now.
just hate their
They just
life.
hate their life, the fact that they got in here. So the only way to win them over is to understand that and address that. It's like to not address that is insanity. To me.
Yeah.
It's like to go up there and be like, "So I was on a U-Bahn today. Oh, what about the U8? Huh?" It's like, no, dude, you have to fucking suck their dick and convince them that this was a marginally okay decision.
Yeah. Listen, I'm really sorry
Yeah.
that we lied to you,
It's-
but
Yeah, and it fucking makes me furious also because it's like, how dare you go like, "Oh, fuck you guys, you don't like that joke." It's like,
Yeah.
no. This is a time bomb. The only way to keep them here for enough comedians to try their shit on them
Yeah.
is to apologize to them and laugh with them. It's like you can't just go like, "Oh, that fucking kills. Fuck you guys."
yeah,
And
that's
like,
so bad. I'm like,
No, dude.
man, you can make it work. And I think that's the beauty of it. It's like you can't, like, all these people that come to the shows, like you can have, sometimes you go in these rooms and then you have the best show at the end of it. And you're like,
Yeah.
wow. And even the audience is like, man, I'm so glad I came. And I think if you care enough about the audience to be like, I know,
yeah,
I know.
I understand.
but,
I
yeah,
wouldn't want to be in your position.
Exactly, but it's like you can make all of this work, and I think that's why a lot of these shows are still around. Is because some people just care enough about the audience to just hit it hard and make.
Yeah, dude, those shows are always my favorite. Like,
Yeah, those are the best. And then if you can do your bit about your family, you can do the bit about the weird stuff. You just gotta make it work in that room, and I think that's where the beauty happens. That's where like people become really funny in their way. When they don't get away, you don't get away with being funny in a mathematically correct way. Like this, like set up punchline. This, like, it doesn't work because everybody speaks like.
check this out, guys.
Yeah.
look what I just did.
If you do cerebral thinking, man, just like no. First of all, nobody knows the words you're using because nobody speaks proper English. Then you have like everything's against you, and I think those are the best rooms. And then you go in the big rooms and you kill, and people are like, "Oh, how did it happen?" It's like because you gotta live in all these other rooms.
Yeah, because I killed for fucking 7 people that were ready to attack us for putting them in that position. You guys are happy having drinks, happy to pay the ticket, and you were like, "Oh my god, we're gonna see a comedy show." It's like, yeah, that's fucking, oh my god, like that's our day off. Like that's the one.
And that's literally it. You go and you perform and you kill. But it's almost weird. It's almost you start to be in your head.
You're like, "Oh, these people want to be here and want me to do well and are supportive and find me funny. This is too much to handle at once."
It's so weird because they're laughing a lot. And you're like, you guys are laughing like a long time. I've been doing these jokes and I was questioning if I'm really funny at all.
It's like when you're having sex with someone and they're like starting to scream. You're like, hold on.
Listen,
Wait.
there's no need to lie to me. Yeah, I've been here many times.
Wait. I've been in this position quite a few times. And I've tried the exact same material.
Yeah.
And you're giving it a bit more than it deserves.
Yeah. I like the enthusiasm.
Yeah.
But let's be honest here,
Either
guys.
I hate the 0.001% of the population that is just a perfect thing, or you're exaggerating a bit.
Is your kink bad?
Yeah.
Is that what you're into? But you have and then man, but it's less of a challenge. Like it's nice. It's fun.
It is,
but it's fun for like, I don't know, man. I've maybe like I've done the shitty mics so much that I love them more than the great shows.
Same.
But it's like you do those big shows and it's the reward. It's like race day when it's like, oh, this is fun, and it's like, oh, everything works. But I'm looking forward to going back to the food court. I'm going back to like these small and rooms.
Food court all fucking day, baby.
Cause this is where you work on it. Like you have an idea, and that's where you learn to be like, I know you don't want to hear me talk. And I think Seinfeld said it when it's like, you constantly gotta prove why you're the one talking in a room of people and no one else gets to speak. And I think that's where you learn it. It's like, because everyone's on the way out. And you're like, just wait a second.
And also like the mistake, I mean, the thing that a lot of people also kind of do is that, they do the bigger, nicer shows that are very well set up. And they're just made for you to do well. 90% of the time. Like, you can even be nervous and kill, and you can be off with your timing and and a lot of people do those, and then they think that they kill now, and then they just do and then like, it's like, no, you have to go back to the hellhole.
Oh my God.
And kill there. Otherwise,
What are you
It's
doing?
like, yeah. I mean, if you can only be in the perfect situation, then that's not like you're not really doing the thing.
No, and that's where like I feel like if you're doing really well in a good room, I don't really like that's nice, but I think that's not really killing. I think killing is when you're in a bad room
Oh, and
you're doing
everyone's dying
and
one after the other. The host is like trying to make jokes, and it's like flat.
Yeah.
And then the whole room is in despair. And then
and you
go-
manage to win those back. I feel like that's an
Oh.
infinitely better feeling than
Oh, yeah.
another comic doing well in a good room. And not because you're like, oh, I'm better than others. It's just like the figuring out the audience and getting them in. Oh,
It's
that's
so much fun.
It's so fun. It's actually just almost like a hype speech. I'm very excited to go back
It
to that.
is.
I was like,
Fuck
let's go back to the
yeah.
grimy rooms.
Fuck yeah.
Because it's always when you see like new comics. I mean, new. Like I'm
We're all
new to
new,
comedy,
yeah.
but like even fresher than us when they're like, oh, I've seen you around, and it's hard because we have now so many. The scene's
Yeah.
growing so fast
So
that you don't
fast.
even know who's on now and like who's doing
Oh
it.
my god, yeah. I mean, every time also, I leave for the summer for a couple of months,
Yeah.
3 months, and then I come back, and there's like 30 new people I don't know. Like, I mean, and I'm meeting a lot of them like the last 2 months. I didn't
Yeah.
even like all winter. Like, it's like, oh my god, there's so much new. Yeah, it's crazy.
And then I mean, more power to them. I mean, some stop, some don't. But it's like you really remember the ones that stick around
Yeah.
because you see them at the grimy venues. And like there's so many that just like you said, just do the nice ones. I haven't even
Yeah.
heard of them. Some of them have been, I think, doing it for 6 months. I haven't seen them.
Oh, ever? Yeah, no. You see, I mean, I see posters, and I'm like, who's that?
What are they doing? And then it's like if I this is usually my benchmark. If I don't see you have a breakdown at Valentine, I don't even think you're a part of it now.
Dude, I think like probably maybe 30% of all comedy gigs I've done in my life have been in Valentine. There was a year and a half
Yeah.
where I was doing like almost every Tuesday, almost every Wednesday, almost every Thursday, like 3 shows every week at Valentine. Fucking bread and butter.
I love in a weird toxic way. I love this room.
Oh my, I love that. I think honestly, I like my bomb to kill ratio is quite fucking balanced, but Valentine maybe I've bombed like 5 times out of like I don't know 100 at this point. All the other rooms, the record is not that nice, but there's something about Valentine that I think is just like that's the room that makes sense for me. Like it's kind of like it looks like my room has a Valentine vibe. My like everything kind of like I don't know. That place is very like feels very home to me.
Yeah, Valentine. If you like, for everyone who probably doesn't know it,
Yeah.
it's a bar that has like you walk in and there's no real furniture. They have outdoor furniture indoors, and that's the main room.
Yeah.
And then there's like a back room with no windows, no ventilation. They somehow broke a window in the wall that leads to the main room. And now there's like a plastic window in front of it, which means that if you're having a show in the back, the music from the front is blasting through that window.
And if there's like a group of people sitting on that fucking bench, you're literally like you're hearing their conversation.
It's everything's again. And then there's like a disco light in the back, and it's the entire room is painted brown.
And then the disco light just fucking goes and twists, so the entire room is just like if you sit at the audience, it blinds you every 4 seconds.
Yeah,
It's like and then the wall has like a fucking marijuana flag and then some brass instruments and a carpet.
with a carpet on the wall behind it, and on top, like in the middle of the room, there's a shopping cart hanging from the ceiling that rotates.
And 90% of the time, the microphone picks up all these different frequencies, and it goes like.
You're like in a bunker trying to phone an airstrike.
Trying to see what the radiation level is on the surface.
Honestly, and I wouldn't be surprised if we find out in 5 years that there was like some radiation.
Radiation.
I would have not been. Oh God. Okay, listen.
Hey.
This is bad. You do these shows, and I recently, like last Thursday, I did it. Miles show, the weed show.
Yeah, that's a fun one.
That's a great show, and it's always packed, except for like that time it was not super full, like 5 people. And he was like, "Hey, you want to do a drop in because there's not a lot of people?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure, I come over." I come over, and he's like, "By the way, everybody dropped out of that half. You're the only one." And then
Can you do 45?
and I did 40 minutes at Valentine. It was, and it's so, and I love it.
Wow.
And it's like a high crowd. So again, like you just lose them because they're like, "Oh, I had to pay
Oh, yeah.
attention for more than 3 minutes. That's too much."
Yeah, no,
that-
you have to be like fucking like to do long sets there. You have to fucking like. I mean, I did 25 at Valentine,
Yeah.
and I was like, fucking, oh my, like I think I lost them 7 times and got
100%.
them back 9. It was just like this fucking thing of like, where is this even go? Like anytime I would do a bit that's longer than 30 seconds,
Yeah, they're like, "I don't know what
I
you're
would
saying."
be like, it reminds me of like my mom when I start telling a story. She always just fucking like starts doing something.
Yeah, zones out. You're like, "This is important."
And
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm in my second sentence. Could you give me a chance? Like, Jesus Christ.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
Oh man,
That's why I love this room. It's just because there's like,
the best.
there's no ego. You're not like, you never leave Valentine with a good, like, that was awesome.
Oh, only once this happened to me.
That you
I think
can-
my favorite set that I've ever done, ever, so far in comedy. I was drunk as fuck on a semi-date kind of thing, but it
Oh,
was,
that's the best, man.
but semi-date,
That's the
super
best.
drunk, and we just hop in there. And I also had like fucking insane deadlines for uni. Like I was so out of any mental state of being like, oh, so I'll do this bit and then that bit. And Eunice comes out. He just went on, and we're talking. I'm like, dude, I just don't want to fucking do any material. Like I'm just like I just want to fuck. And then he was talking about trying some new stuff, and then he has his phone and he has this list of a bunch of shit. And then we start talking. Like, what if I just take your phone and do your premises?
No, that's so good.
I have it. It's one of the few things I have on YouTube. I have the whole set, like
Okay.
the 8-minute set, and it's fucking. I think it's the best I've ever done given the circumstances. And it's Valentine and Eunice is in the back, and it's fucking. It's probably the most fun I've ever had. Just
Yeah.
Eunice's phone, and then just going through one sentence weird ideas that he had, and did the whole set like that, and left. And I was fucking like, it was the first time that I left Valentine. And I was like, that's right, bitch.
Yeah, that's what I do now.
That's what I do.
Yeah, that's the best.
Yeah, it was also like entering my 3rd year. Like it was sort of like first time that I'm figuring some things out where I'm like, okay, this is actually like I can do some stuff. Like finally,
Yeah.
with,
But
yeah,
I think that's the beauty of that room. Where it's like you go up and there's just like, the second you start doing an act of like, this is not who you are as a real
Yeah.
person, everybody in that room is like, we don't like that. Why are you an actor?
I will say though, I've seen more obscure acts kill in Valentine. Like
Yeah,
if
yeah.
you go traditional, like boring 2-minute bit about your country, then 2-minute bit about you growing up there, that's always gonna die unless you like. Meaning like we're talking about more early stage. Now, if you're like a very seasoned comedian, you can make anything
Yeah,
work
yeah, for
anywhere.
sure.
But I've seen like people do complete characters where it's like super obscure, very their own pace and their own thing, and it fucking murders.
But that's what I mean. Like, it's got to be you. Like, it's got to be an exaggeration of who you are. It can't be you being like a phony version of like, I'm gonna pretend to be a comic now. If you're
that's-
just like, you gotta, whatever you are, if you turn it up and you're more of that.
Or you can amplify whatever the fuck it is.
Exactly. And
I mean, but that's the thing with everywhere, to be honest. Like,
Yeah, fair.
That's also I think that's what those rooms teach you eventually,
Yeah.
because you see like actual comedians touring, and you go and see them in a theater, and you're like, oh, they're performing like they're in
They're in the back room.
yeah. I mean, that's basically why those rooms can be amazing for you if you use them for that reason. Is that like that's why it takes fucking 10, 20 years to figure out meaning like find really your voice, is because you have to like translate those moments where you have zero fucks to give, and
Yeah.
you amplify all of it, and then you have to manage to like have that always, like that has to become who you are on stage, and that takes fucking at least a decade. But it's this thing of like, those rooms are amazing because they get you to speak with actual cadence and have actual like, because then you go to other shows and you're like, so na 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 na, but then you're in Valentine, you're like na 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 na, na.
Yeah.
Oh, that's like, that's stage presence, that's like, that's what I have to like take everywhere. But it's not as easy because in Valentine you're like, fucking, I'll take my clothes off and
it doesn't matter.
Who gives a fuck?
Exactly.
No one's ever gonna find out.
Oh yeah, it's beautiful to, and I feel like that's for me just happening now, like recently, especially with like playing bigger venues, is when you bring that energy into like a big venue.
Oh,
Because we're all like fairly new, so the average comic is like, we're all kind of in it for this roughly the same amount of time. So if you have played Valentine a lot and you go into those big venues and they're like, how the hell are you turning it up like that? And you're like, because I've been there.
yeah,
This is just this is just the Valentine energy that you can now channel in those moments. And then the audience is like, how the hell? Where do you think you are? And you're like, I'm at Valentine. Like, what are you? Listen,
yeah, you have to make every stage your backyard. Yeah, it's amazing. I think this is the first time, honestly, like, I've also been, I haven't been doing it that consistently, even though it's like, 4.5 years maybe at this point, but it was fucking all pandemic. Then I stopped like 3-4 months a year. But this is the first time that I felt like, oh, I've unlocked a little thing, which is that of like being able to like go to a very polished or go to any show and bring the same weird obscurity that like being able to be who you actually are on stage, but also in places that you used to be a little bit more like,
let me be what they want me to be.
Yeah, like this effort of like, and it's not, I don't think it came from a perspective of like trying too hard to, I think it's just in the beginning, it's very difficult to make that connection of like, oh, I need to have the same desperation and even more, and the same like carelessness and speed. Just I have to be vulnerable and desperate and fast and angry. Like I don't need to just be like, so here's a bit and leads to the other bit. Like I can just bring the same insanity in a little theater or in a boutique or in a fucking smoky back room, and it has to be like that. Yeah, it's what I mean. That's the thing. I kind of like. I've seen a few comedians do this where like they're performing in a theater, like a small theater, so not like sea of people, a little bit more distinct. Like the 200 seater, 300 seater, where you can like see the people a bit more clearly. And honestly, like the difference is not that much. This insane jump in writing. It's not like, oh, these are jokes that we could never write. No, we could write those jokes.
Yeah.
The difference is, I mean, experience, stage presence, but it's like how much awareness do you have while also doing your act? Because I think when you start, you have 0.1% awareness. You're just in the words.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And then every year you gain like another like 0.5, like to the point that now maybe we have like a 4%, a 5%, maybe even a 10%, depending on how you count. I don't know. But that's the fascinating thing, is seeing like, oh, that's the big difference, is that this person is doing their act. They've seen 17 different things happen in the room at the same time. They jumped to this. They've connected it to the next bit. They saw something happen. They had a bit about it. So now they create this kind of weird, like, it's this kind of like the sight. It's like, how many years does it take with all these increments of stage presence that you can just be so aware and so in control, and your eyes are actually being used and your brain is actually being used while you're also doing something.
Interesting. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, like I've seen that a few times where I'm like, oh, these jokes are very funny, but it's not like me and you. If me and you sat down plus another friend of ours, we could come up with really funny shit like that, as in the writing and the idea of the joke. But being on stage like that, and being able to make 25 connections in 5 seconds and lay it all out and then play with it. Like,
Yeah.
that shit is like the insanity. Is that kind of like all the, like, how many, it's like a computer chip. It's like you just upgrade and you're like, oh, now I can run 20 processes at the same time.
Exactly. Yeah. I think what you said with like using your eyes to see, that's like,
Yeah.
it's actually profound, man. I didn't even think of that, but it's true. Like when
Dude,
you're
I'm deep. I don't know if you can
yeah,
tell from
man,
my
that's
room,
your
but
fucking hell.
yeah.
Look at this guy. It's the like you're sitting there like standing, and in the beginning, it's true. You're just like you're staring into the darkness. You're just
abyss,
like,
yeah.
okay, let me just bop, 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 bop. That's what I prepared. And then at some point, you're like, yeah, I have stuff prepared, but we're here.
Yeah.
Like, what are we like? Are we not gonna address this thing? Like, I'm gonna tell you guys some stuff if you guys want to hear it, but I'm
Yeah.
no longer like, oh my god, thank you so much for coming out.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I did prepare something because you guys came out crazy.
My name is Ludwig.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh for sure, that's still open like that.
Oh, dude, yeah, no, it's very fast. I mean, I think that's what keeps at least like the people that are like incredibly passionate, outside of like how quickly you can figure out things for your own self and how successful it might be, and it's a very marginal thing that we're doing. The one out of fucking 100,000 gets any sort of like proper
Recognition.
yeah, and success out of it, and actually comes out very decent out of it. Like, it's really
Yeah.
but the thing is, I think, like, yeah, if you kind of have that fucking like horny passion about it, is like
Yeah.
you'll do it forever, because it's like you acknowledge, like, I might be bombing this like the last couple of weeks. People might not be booking me so much, but like I've added the 3% to my site. That's like that's how I think about it. I'm like, oh, this is very, very valuable, and maybe won't click for another year properly, but I'm like, I'm happy to be here for the
Yeah.
process.
I think that's what a lot of people, when they're like, oh, I don't understand how you do that many shows, like whatever. It's like, because I love it.
Yeah, and
I don't like, you think it's a sacrifice for me if I do like these many shows and I don't get to. No, for me it's a sacrifice if I don't get to do the shows. And I really I love it so much that I don't know, man. Just getting better at this is so huge. Getting to do this every night, multiple times, it's such a privilege.
It is a blessing. I'm jealous. I've always been so fucked up with nightlife and work and stuff that I wish I could have a bigger stretch of time where I'm like fucking on top of it, but not complaining. I'm really
But you're
happy
also
with-
living. Like, that's another thing that I realized for myself, because I can get very like
Yeah.
obsessive with certain things. I'm just, I don't know, too like structured, and I'm like, oh, let me just single in on this one thing. But it's like recently I was like, honestly, I gotta live. And it was after this Valentine set where I was sitting down with one audience member, and she was like, well, I'm 24 and I've lived on a boat with my boyfriend, and I was like, for 2 years I traveled through this. And then I was like, Jesus. She was like, how old are you? And I'm like, 25. And she was like, well, what did you do? And I was like, just work.
Just work and just stand. Yeah. No, baby, you gotta live a little.
And that's it,
like,
yeah.
And also that's why I'm like, I mean, I'm fucking working on 20 things simultaneously that none of them will ever get to like any crazy legit point, but I'm just very passionate about a lot of different things. But there's also the aspect of like, I'm not making the most consistent progress with stand-up because it's not this very precise, calculated amount of times that I'm doing it consistently. But everything else, and sometimes even the breaks, and then sometimes all the crazy experiences, like sometimes you come back to it after all these things, and you've unlocked something that you could have never unlocked if you did it every night. Because it's like, sure, I lack in so many areas with stand-up because of the inconsistency, but there's just certain things and certain like desperations and ideas and fucking like that you can only really unlock for yourself if you put some other things on the line as well.
Yeah,
And I think it's very beneficial to, I mean, obviously there's a balance, and there's also like giving yourself a break and just going like enjoying some stuff. And
I don't know.
Oh,
Another
yeah.
25-minute timer. I don't know if you want to.
all right, so live a little. We're gonna take a small break, and then we'll come do a last 20-minute outro.
Sounds good.
Oh, yeah, baby. All right, we're back. We have our
back.
iced
Iced tea.
with some
Cheers.
lazy eye bitters on top. Okay, so the let's see. We left it. You gotta live a little.
Yeah.
So I think let's do like the last chunk of the podcast about. I wanna find your thing.
Okay, let's do
You
it.
know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
you have your fucking job, you're like very fucking put together, stand up fucking all the way every night. I want to find your like,
My life.
like what's your fucking like, where does the all that? Because it's also like live a little doesn't fucking mean like, oh, you also have to come out, get drunk, try drugs, do like everyone finds their own way into. Like, I mean, you look like a backpacker, but that's
I was about to say, I was like, I should travel more. I
yeah.
think
I should like get an Interrail pass and just
Yeah.
get a little backpack.
Go crazy.
Go
see
crazy,
see
yeah.
some beaches.
Go to hostel and live with people that look exactly like me.
I've really come to terms with how basic I am. I think that's a big thing. I'm just like, I'm okay with it now.
Yeah, baby.
I'm like, before that, I was always like, well, maybe I'm just different. I'm like, maybe I'm not. Maybe that's my thing.
Yeah, and it's also like, okay, obviously, I make fun of you for being basic.
Yeah.
Because I'm a lunatic. But the only reason I'm even spending that time making fun of you for being basic is also because you're fucking doing stand up every night. You're a fucking weirdo. Like,
Yeah, I know. It's
like you're basic in the same way that I'm fucking like a weirdo, but also in reality, I'm a very simple person. I watch a lot of sports. I cook a lot. I enjoy very simple things. I just also have this aura of like fucked up shit and I play into it. But the reality is also like, I'm a simple guy of the earth. You know?
man.
I love a fucking beach and a fucking nice glass of cold beer and some
Yeah.
nice music. I don't fucking need strap-ons and fucking dungeons. I don't need like just give me a fucking piece of fish, a beer, some sea. I'm good. I can be like a Mediterranean uncle all the way.
That's it, man.
I don't need any of that fancy shit. So it's also, you know, your basicness is like, it's a funny little thing, the same way we make fun of me
Yeah,
for all
for
the
sure.
shit that I wear on my chest. But also the reality is like, yeah, Louis, you're fucking cool as fuck.
Yeah, okay, thank you, man. But I think I don't really know. It's honestly, it kind of came to me when I was on Instagram, and for me personally, I dealt with a lot of stuff just on like a personal level, and like really feel like I got a lot of closure on my past. And now it's almost this weird thing where for a long time insecurity was like a driving force of my work ethic.
Yeah.
And I feel I'm now at a point where I'm like, I've dealt with all that. And now I just get to do more of what I like. And it's almost scary because you're like, I come from this like place of missing stuff. So I've got to work for it. And now
Yeah.
you're like, I'm actually good with me. And that's like a whole, like the peace I have now is almost like unsettling because I'm so used to chaos that I'm like, do I have to make it myself again?
Oh, dude, that way we're very, very similar. I've obviously through very different routes and I've dealt with it in different ways, but I also have this thing of like that kind of chip on your shoulder and this kind of like need to always like, you know, it's also always been my biggest problem where like, if you hire me to do something, I'll do everything for it. And then when I'm alone with myself, I'm not gonna work for myself. I just have this thing of like I'll always like work for shit,
Yeah.
and then I could never like push my own things. Stand up really helps because it's this like performing aspect.
Yeah.
If it was all writing,
Oh,
like,
that would be horrible.
yeah.
That would be horrible.
That's why also I do stand up the way I do is because I don't have a work ethic for myself.
Yeah.
It's like you can call it a style or you can call it lazy and spontaneous.
It's actually a vibe. It's a vibe. It's actually my
Some
bad.
people actually got a vibe. Yeah, I mean, also I think even trying stand up and even doing it for a little bit gets you so acclimated with the idea of risking and sometimes not paying off
Yeah.
that I think for most people that are terrified of so many things in terms of like being uncomfortable or like pushing themselves out of a place, I think stand up opens up a lot in life because if you're willing to do that to yourself,
Yeah.
then the rest starts becoming a little bit more you have a little bit more courage in
Yeah, for
other
sure.
things in life. But what would be like your, I don't know. Like, okay, let's say you travel. Like, how do you, like, what's your, let's say, like, dream scenario, you don't have to work, you take a month off stand up. Like, what's your first instinct? Like, where do you go and how do you do it?
I don't even know. That's really the point where I'm at. I'm so
Okay.
good at my systems right now, which is a weird thing to say, that it's like I really enjoy the peace I have with those.
Okay, let me do some IT now with
Okay.
your systems.
Just
okay.
real quick, I think we have a fly in here.
Yeah, we do have a flying. Yeah.
Should we get rid of it or just not bother?
Not bother.
Okay, easy. I was just I was like with the shot and everything. See, this is a level of detail that sometimes might hold me back. But I'm like, I gotta get the fly out first. It's like the OCD.
Dude, it's my room. A fly is very welcome. It's actually making me feel a bit more like home. In Greece, flies are like...
It's just
Yeah, they're just there. Yeah.
part of it.
Yeah. You think, oh, this guy has 4 moles on his face. And like, oh, they were flies. He just didn't even bother removing them from his face.
No, I don't think that I don't think the system. That was like I was in my head about the fly. That was also like a weird answer. It's like my system.
My system.
It's like
No,
what
yeah.
am I?
Okay, I'll hit you with 50-50s.
Okay.
Latin America, Southeast Asia. Gotta be a
I
bit
think
faster.
Southeast Asia. I think it's
Okay,
better.
Southeast Asia.
Latin America for the love, Southeast Asia for the countryside.
Yeah.
That was what I was going through. I'm like,
Southeast Asia to go in the fields and see how they repair the tractor.
yeah, I'm like seeing the homies. I'm like, hello guys.
Bro, I've been following you for fucking decades.
You guys and the tractor, can we take a picture? Come on, lads.
They're gonna be like the Vine celebrities where they like there was like those 3 years where these people got famous on Vine.
Oh, yeah,
And then
yeah.
only like certain people knew them, and you're like your guys are like they fix the tractors in the fields.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so Southeast Asia.
I think it's just more like letting go of it because right now I'm just
Yeah.
I'm so dialed in on like, okay, stand up, work, and I have very few like just times off where I don't do anything. It's just back to back to back. So I think like when I travel, it's just probably like partying, being on the beach, like sleeping in, like
Fuck yeah.
just, and not even for long because afterwards I like this lifestyle. It's very, it's nice to rest, but it's very unfulfilling. Like I like the griminess of like every night and just being out there, like in this city, and that's what I really came to love Berlin.
Yeah.
It's like when you leave, like I love to leave Berlin, but then after like a couple of days, I also love to come back because I'm like, there's a dirty busyness in this city that you just don't get anywhere else.
Yeah, that's very true. I mean, that's why I kind of came here because I grew up in this chaos in Athens, and it was like, you smoke everywhere. There's a bunch of freaky shit. There's this kind of like just abundance of just no one really caring enough to fix it. Like this kind of like left to its own kind of designs. I think it's starting to bug me a bit because I've never had anything else.
Yeah.
That was always and I love that shit. Like I love this kind of chaos. I always thrived in it, and I love this kind of freedom and this weird comfort and can provide through how uncomfortable it can seem.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I've also reached a point where I'm like, I always loved this, and it's amazing that Berlin still you can do all the things that you can do. It feels surreal, but it's almost like my priorities have shifted very like the last few years, especially like the last year and a half, where as much as I love it and admire the fact that it exists, and I will always cherish just being able to like just be in those environments, I think I need different stuff right now.
Like a little bit of peace, a little bit of just calm. Yeah. Less
like-
stimulus.
Yeah, more Swiss.
More Swiss, yeah.
More Swiss, less Berlin. I feel like right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit more money in the bank, a little bit more nature. That would be nice.
That would be good, yeah.
Yeah, I'm tired of being broke in amazing cities that just are so overstimulating that at some point you're like, what's the point of, am I even a person? Like,
Yeah. No, for sure.
Yeah.
So Southeast Asia, what did you do there? What do people do?
Would you go for like cities or like do the rainforest and mountains and all that stuff?
I don't know. I think probably cities. Like,
Okay. Food priority or like people social?
social, for sure.
Okay, you meet this like super hot Thai girl.
Okay.
But she has a dick.
I knew I was gonna get tricked. I knew this was too good to be true. Bro, I'm for sure. I gotta be careful in Thailand. I'm just fucking.
You're bait for them.
Oh
my
I'm
God.
going to be tricked 100 times. I'm like, I thought you were different. I thought you were for love.
I thought that was just your zipper.
I thought you were just excited with your keys.
Damn, I even forgot what I was gonna say. Oh no! Oh, you meet this girl and she's like in the fucking takes you out to like the fucking forest. You're in nature, and she's like, "Oh, let's take some acid together."
Nah, bro, I'm out. Nah, I'm out.
Acid's the best, bro.
Nah. I think I'm too self-conscious. Like, I don't know.
I mean, I can't imagine you on acid, to be honest.
Nah.
That'd be so funny.
Honestly, I don't wanna face my demons in that way.
But you don't really. I mean,
okay, but
you face your demons sometimes. I mean, some people face their demons also because it's been this buildup of like, they do that like 30, 40 for the first time, and their whole kind of life can be kind of channeled through them. But normally, most experiences, when you're with someone that guides you and creates the environment, are kind of like being a child again. It's literally like, it's Peter Pan, the story of Peter Pan.
Okay.
Where you're like, oh, yeah, you're in this fucking dog shit house in this bad situation, but if the fairy comes and sprinkles you, you can fly.
Okay.
Like that's exactly, and you can fly to a faraway land where you're actually fucking like it's like you have control, but you don't, and that's a cool part. Is like, oh, you're like, it's really like that, and I don't mean fly as in like, oh, I think I can actually fly, so I'll jump off this cliff.
Yeah,
It's more this
yeah.
kind of feeling of like for most people that actually like have a good experience, which is a big majority, I think, it really is that kind of like everything. Most cartoons from our childhood are kind of stories about psychedelics.
Okay.
I mean, the Smurfs are all about psychedelics, and it's most of those things are like this weird sort of this sense of there's more. Like that idea of like every fairy tale and every children's thing is about this idea of like, oh, there's this reality, but I'm sure there's something a bit more fantastical. That's literally acid. It's like, it's almost like buying a ticket for 8 hours to be in a parallel little beautiful place.
But for me, the thing is always like, I'm more worried about me loving it. Like,
Yeah, but that's the thing with acid is like, it's exhausting.
okay.
It's exhausting. Mentally, physically, it's a full body experience. Like you become an earth creature, and there's so much energy. Like your body breathes from everywhere. Like it's so, like you become a little plant, and it's so in the mental strain of being so like part of everything that you don't do acid and then you're like, oh, let's take another one. It's like, fuck no.
Okay.
It's that's why it's also like all those myths about drugs all being the same. It's like, no, acid is like a cheat code, but it also like, yeah, it's this weird thing where like very rarely do you find yourself like abusing it, because there's also a bit of respect, and it's an experience. Like you can't just fucking can't do anal every day.
Fair enough. Okay.
So yeah, I'm not trying to sell you an acid,
I was about to say, look, that sounds actually great.
but I'm trying to, because to me I think it's like, I think it should be mandatory for every person to do acid once in their life and then decide. I feel like if everyone in the world did acid once, might not have one single war right now. Like,
Okay, fair.
I mean, it's not a coincidence that that's where the government banned it, and the whole movement of anti-war was just acid heads just being like, "Hey, man,
What if we just love each other?
what if we just hug the trees, man? Like, why do you have to
Fair.
fight, bro?"
Yeah, I see.
Yeah, it's kind of like a. Yeah, I think there's a big part of me that counts like my life before and after acid as a sort of like. Also, someone that's not religious. I think it's the only spiritual experience I've had in my life.
Wow. Okay.
It's like, oh, there is
A
there is
higher.
more and there is a higher power. It's not a guy with a fucking beard that doesn't want me to make out with other men, but there is a life force. Like, yeah.
Yeah, fair. Nah, but I think I wouldn't do acid. I don't know.
Okay.
It's so
Well, after this,
after all you told me, that actually assured me to never do it.
after this beautiful pitch,
I was like, you know what? Nah.
I'm actually never gonna try it. Well, I tried.
We could stop all wars if you take acid. Nah, I'm good with the wars.
No, I think you're too afraid that you're gonna quit your day job if you do acid.
Yeah, for sure, man. 100%. I'm afraid. What if I let go,
I
man?
can't go back to the office.
What if I let go and everything will be fine? I'm like, nah, dude.
Nah.
That's
Yeah. One day. Remember, if we ever try acid,
we'll
Toast.
get back.
Yeah.
There's gonna be a cut. Me after acid, man. Me just like in
Man.
one of these like colorful outfits. I'm like, I recount my life before acid as well as the corporate Ludwig.
the corporate Ludwig. All my jokes are about turtles now, man.
Yeah,
I just joke about turtles.
it's about love.
It's about love and turtles.
No,
Fun stuff, Louis. Thank you for coming, being part of my bender.
thank you for having me.
I'll see you later in the later part of my bender. Let's see how I'm coping then.
That's true. We have a show tonight.
We do have a show tonight.
It's gonna be exciting. Let's see
Yeah.
if we have people. Like that's the summer
Yeah.
vibe of every show. Is just let's see if we have people.
Let's see if there are people. Yeah, a lot of friends were supposed to show up, I think. And I think they're all fucked from the weekend, which is
Fair.
better because they haven't seen me do stand-up. And I'm like, I don't want you to see this version. It might be the funniest version.
Yeah.
Or it also might be the most tragic version. Let's see. It's a 50-50 when I'm in
Those
this
are those are usually where they collide.
But that's how I coast. It's like,
Funny and tragic.
but I think the best I've ever done has always been where the worst I could have ever done was like laying right under it.
Oh yeah.
It was like my best sets were like a roll of the dice of like, this will either be a traumatic experience or I will just murder and like it's annoying a bit sometimes. I wish I could just go up and be like, here's my fucking tight 10 minutes. Ain't this fun?
But that's what nobody, like Louis said, is like that's what nobody wants to see. If you're too comfortable in your material,
know.
everybody's like, ew, you gotta be a little bit on edge. You
I
gotta be a
know,
little
but
bit
you know
like
what I know, but you know what I mean. I agree with you. We've agreed on everything. But you know
but-
what I mean? It's just more like sometimes I'm like, oh, I wish I just had like material, like, and sometimes I would just like fucking hone the material. But always I just have like 2 months where something is really working, and then and then fucking never. I'm like, Anyway, we'll figure it out. Ludwig, fucking anytime, baby. This was so much fun.
This was great. Thank
Yeah.
you so much.
Maybe next time I'll have some sleep in me, and then the podcast will be boring, and then we'll never do it again.
Let's do it the next time. You sleep 12 hours and I come sleep deprived. This is just like,
Oh, that's gonna be fucking. I don't think you can handle it, baby boy.
man, you should have seen me. That's why I want to get back into partying. I've been I've been a wild man before, and now
Okay.
this is just the corporate me.
Oh, please, let's party.
Let's do it.
Oh, that's gonna be fun.
That's gonna be.
Yeah.
It's gonna be. Let's party and then do a post-party podcast.
Oh, baby, easy.
When it's
Oh, yeah.
you and then no, you after 12 hours like no sleep, and me after the no sleep partying together, and then we do the
Oh,
podcast.
that's gonna be lovely. It's gonna feel like bring your nephew at work day. For me.
Exactly. You're like, listen, Ludwig, how do you feel? I'm very tired.
I don't know what to do. Like, come on, man.
How often have you do this? Have you done this? Oh, that would be beautiful. Easy.
Excited. Nice. I'm gonna take you.
I can show you the world.
I'm gonna take you under my wing.
Yeah.
In 1 year, you'll be missing half the shows because it'll be a fuck up. How excited are you, Louis?
This is the point where we point back, like, and when the therapist is like, when do you think everything went wrong? It's like, let's go to this episode.
Well, I count my life as before the podcast and after the podcast. After the podcast, something switched.
Pre-Paris and post-Paris.
It's like from going to like, oh, I'm doing my solo hour stand-up show. You're gonna be like, I'm doing a one-man show. We explore some ideas.
It's just me and 7 triangles.
I'm taking it to the fringe. The whole concept is suffering. It's very funny for 3 minutes in the middle.
Man, beautiful.
Thank you for joining us again. Wish me luck in my next 6-hour endeavors, which are gonna be dicey as hell. And thank you to Louis, and fucking see you. Oh, also every 2 weeks now, because every week no one wants to watch it anyway. I don't want to make it every week. It's too much work. You're not watching it. I'm not doing it for fun anymore. It doesn't make sense for either of us. So I'm gonna make it every 2 weeks. You keep not watching it, but at least then it's sustainable for me to make it. You know how.
I think that's the most honest anyone's ever been about the podcast. We're making it now.
Oh yeah, dude. What, you think there's fucking 30 people might watch like 5 minutes of it at some point. This is not for anyone. I mean, I have like 8 devout listeners.
Oh, those are the best.
And then the rest are just like, they see a post and maybe click and then watch the first 2 minutes and then leave. But this is for us. This is practice.
Oh, this is
in 27 years, when
someone's like, I actually have a podcast.
Yeah, it's been going on for 27 years, and now I have 73 devout listeners. Shit's fucking exponential.
Sky's the limit.
Sky's the limit, baby. Okay, ciao, babes.
Bye-bye.